Okay, so welcome. Welcome if you're here. This is a share with Katrina from the United States of America, who is a thinking into results leader in the mentorship with Diamond Mind. And Katrina, it is just so great to have you here today and to share your story, your experience, your big goals and dreams, where you're moving even on from this. But I would love for you, just as we open up this share, where were you before you made the decision to join the Thinking into Results material and the mentorship with myself and, of course, the late, great Bob Proctor?
Well, hello, Tara. Thank you for having me. It's my honor to be here and my honor to share my experience. So before the TIR, I would say I was kind of lost as far as I had my family, I was healthy. Um, we had a boy back then, one son. Now we have two, but I was lost. I was happy and I wasn't happy, and I didn't know why. And I've been following you for the last 2 years now. It was almost a year and a half before I decided to work with you in this material with the TIR. Every time I would join your free sessions or like a master class, I would feel like $1,000,000 after. Like I would feel so empowered, so comfortable, so much confidence. And I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And I would do the work. I would do the work, and then I would just fall back into my old habits. My old paradigms would kick in. And then one day I just decided this is it. This is it. I have to go all in or not at all. Because I did see from the little work that I was doing, I did see that I was better. I saw a change in myself and the people around me. So I made the decision, and here I am. It's been great.
So what would you say have like what are some of the biggest shifts that you've experienced by coming into this mentorship that you've noticed, like personally, maybe even within your family, um, within your mindset? Like what are some of the biggest shifts, or what are some of the biggest uh yeah, just kind of like takeaways that has supported you the most?
So confidence and self-esteem has been very, very big for me. Confidence to be able to speak up and just to say what I want, what I feel, or and without thinking of what other people have to say or what is their opinion on this.
Yeah, I think it's even a big shift, like, right, like us even being here and being on a video screen and sharing.
Yes, it's
Huge, huge.
huge also to be that confident to do this. Yes, thank you. Uh, yes, and an awareness, and to be aware of my surroundings, to be aware of myself, to love myself. Another big shift, to appreciate myself for who I am, what I am, um, and what I'm doing. Because I was always doing things for people, and I was never satisfied. I would say, oh, I can do more, or I can do more, and people would ask for more, and then give, and you forget about yourself. You forget about to be compassionate with yourself, to love yourself. So that's
Yeah,
a
and
big
I think that's a paradigm that a lot of women, especially mothers, right? We tend to, you know, kind of always think of other people and not be taking care of ourselves. And yet, when you shift that paradigm, you recognize that, that's what leadership is about, is, leading and really leading from within oneself, so that our children don't repeat those patterns, because that is a pattern that's been programmed, I think, into a lot of women, is that kind of almost self-sacrificial, which moves into almost like a victim consciousness. And we've talked about that a few times, right?
Yes, yes. And that was one of my goals and still is, to be the leader, to take care of myself and to show my boys that, you gotta be taking care of yourself. You have to be okay in order for you to help others, You can't give what you don't have, basically.
Yeah, and it really feels like this, just even as you're sharing and just watching you really grow and shine throughout this mentorship, and this journey, which is in growth mindset. Just seeing how, it's not about becoming something, especially becoming something you're not, but about discovering. It's like, I think that this is where we get disconnected from ourselves and spirit. So it's about, like, this place of being, and seeing just how awesome you are, and just bringing more of you to the world. And it's really exciting. Like, it is, it's just obviously studying this material for a long time. It's really exciting, because this is, we were talking about that. We were talking for quite some time before we jumped on this call, just that real change, right, is to change within here, as within, so without, as within. It really starts on the inside, and then you start to see everything else around you just start to follow your lead. And that's a huge shift in thinking.
It
So you
is.
probably just recognize that is big.
Every day I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that. And in a sense, it's like you're standing up for yourself.
Yeah. What would you say? Like, I know that you and I had connected many times, and I'm so glad, because, at Diamond Mind, we're always thinking of just service and how to offer master classes, and we're doing workshops, jumping on calls. And so you and I had jumped on quite a few calls, and you know, I knew that you wanted to join me. What was the biggest factor of moving forward for you? And what, now looking back at that older version of you, because you're not even the same person. Like, I don't even recognize you from that person all those years back. What would you want to say to that person? Because I'm sure there's somebody here that's going to be watching this video, that will be able to relate.
Yeah. As I think about it, I'm getting a little bit emotional.
Well, that's the language of the subconscious. You're tapping in, so.
Yeah. Um, I was stuck. I was really stuck. I was really stuck in those a repetition of, do this, don't do that. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Um, I was really stuck. And, I am so glad that I am here right now. I'm so glad that I took that initiative to, like, um, go through that terror barrier, because it was. Um, but I'm so glad to be here. And I would just say, just do it. Just do it. Just go for it. Um, I love that. I love that Nike logo. Just do it. And don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't overthink it. Because I tend to overthink sometimes. And when I do that, that keeps me back. Um, I think of all the scenarios, how it will turn out. Will the other person like it? What the other person will think about? So right now, it's like, just do it, as I did with the mastermind class,
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, and it's, it's one thing I've found too, is it usually turns out way better than you could have imagined. And it's just part of that old way of thinking, especially if you grew up in a household where there was kind of a lot of emotional impact, or a lot of negative kind of programming. It's natural to be worried and to get stuck in those doubts. But this is where, to really shift to, well, what's the best thing that could happen? And I think too, just even as you're sharing, I've noticed this in my own life where I've learned to trust that quiet voice within me. Those, I call them, divine nudges that were nudging me, for years. And I should have just done it. But I just, again, like you're saying, I wasn't trusting the quiet voice. I wasn't trusting the divine nudges. But I knew from the beginning, it was like, that's exactly where I need to be. And so the shift of, well, what's the best thing that could happen? Sometimes, we're more than aware of where the mind wants to take us to all the worries and doubts. But what's the best thing if I do this? Because I think that we're being divinely nudged all the time. And I know for me, Katrina, this is one thing that shifted for me is I've always known that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I always just pay attention. And I'm like, not just gathering information, but knowing that my prayers are always being answered. And this is exactly where I need to be. And just taking that leap of faith. It is so scary. And we're programmed to stay stuck in fear, but just to take that leap and move forward. And that's what you did ultimately. And I remember when you made that decision, I remember you still were scared and you did it. You just did it.
I was, and some, and those feelings, they do come up. Obviously, they do come up. Um, but I feel more confident now to not let them overpower me, to
Yeah.
have more power uh, within me. Now I know that, okay, I can stop it. I can stop it and I can just push through it. And I
Yeah,
think,
I've seen you really declare, I always say it's like sovereignty or dominion over your life instead of just feeling like a plaything, and that's where we tend to, where we get stuck on the outside and just think life's being done to us. And I really, like, I even sense it, I feel it, I see it in you. It's like this sovereignty, this dominion. It's like, this is my life and this is who I am. And yeah, you're glowing. And not only that, you are one of my wives and mamas that has come in, and through you becoming a leader, through you, as I always say, mind your own business, you do your own work, you study, you ignited and inspired your husband to join us. Like, I always think, like, it's working when, because I always think the toughest thing we do sometimes is being in relationship, right? And so I always think I have a few men that have come in first and ignited and brought their female partner in. But it's interesting to just see how you were one of those students that came in, and your husband has joined us as well.
I know, right? Thinking about it, I'm like, how did that
It's a
happen?
miracle, isn't it? It's just like, that's why I say expect miracles
You
when
know,
you're
it was like never my goal. And
Mhm.
but from sharing and sharing here and there, and he even told me he's seen like a change. I was not seeing it back then. I was not seeing it. He was seeing the change in me. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. And when he joined and like he is with his material now, I'm like, how did that happen? It's awesome though. It's awesome to have somebody that, you think the same way, you can communicate, you can share and not be afraid and not be scared, like being really open. It's been great. It's good. It's really
Yeah, and
good.
you were saying that before we jumped on this, like, just to see in him how he's thinking into results and how inspiring it is. And we always say like 2% of people think, 3% think they think. And unfortunately, on this planet, 95% of people would rather die than think. And so when you start thinking and living from the inside out versus the outside in, it is really exciting. And that's why, like, even with starting the mastermind and being with others that are leading from within, and then seeing your husband and having that communication with him. We were having a conversation around this. It is really, and it's at the same time, it's not the goal. It's not the goal to change people outside of you. I always say your job is not to change anyone outside of you. Your goal is to do your own work. And at the same time, I would say we can't change people, but we can. So, right?
They want to. They want
Yeah.
to.
They just naturally want to join in. I've shared with you, that was like for me, like 8 years ago, coming from a lot of work with Tony Robbins and Robin Sharma, my background, all energy healing and all that. And, my husband and their family are all engineers and very science minded. And seeing some of this as maybe a little bit woo woo and didn't like Tony Robbins. And then, yeah, it was the biggest, it was like, talk about miracle when you said, what are you doing? Like, I need to do this with you. And it was like, really? This is amazing. Because my husband was an unconscious competent. And so he came in and became conscious, more conscious. So this is really exciting. And I'm so proud of you. I think, Neville Goddard says, lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. You just continue to do your work. And then all of a sudden you see the shifts in your partners. You see the shift in the people outside. You see the shift in what you're magnetizing, because no longer are you magnetizing those lower frequencies and energies, but you start to attract higher frequencies, higher level thinking people and leaders. And it's really truly coming from within. And that's the thinking into results method and way of living, because it is a way of living.
It is a
What
way
are
of.
what are some of your aspirations or goals as you move forward? Whether it's in the mentorship, in the material, some of your own personal and professional goals, and is there anything that you'd like to share?
So, well, one of my goals is to be connected with myself, body, mind, and to still continue to have that awareness. And um, I would like to work with kids. I would like to work with kids in a school setting to teach them mindfulness meditation, which I do practice. I'm not certified yet, but that's my goal. That's one of my goals. And I would love to bring this work, the mindfulness meditation, the yoga, journaling, the importance of journaling, and all these incredible materials that I know to young kids to show them that there is a different way of doing life, a different way of thinking, and that they can accomplish anything that they want, anything that they put their mind into.
Yeah, and there's such a huge need for that, especially at a time on a planet where we see that unfortunately we've got to shift some of these paradigms, and Bob would always say that most people shut off their imagination in grade one, sit up straight, pay attention, stop dreaming, and now there's the opportunity to shift this paradigm. I mean, school was created during the industrial age to make good little workers. And we want to shift this into free thinking human beings that, are entrepreneurs, are creators, are the geniuses that each and every human being is like a snowflake and brings a sense of genius if they're allowed to, and if they're encouraged to use their higher mental faculties, which of course we teach in lesson 5, and to really learn how to, and I think at that age would be to just keep them connected, because that's where the disconnect happens, right? And the great thing is that, you coming in as a mother with your own children and really leading with this, it's leading by example. And I'm so glad, because we need better ways of nourishing our children and our younger generations, especially at a time where we see that there's a lot of disconnect through media, through these gadgets, which, yes, we want to use for the good, but we also see that there's a big disconnect from spirit and from Mother Earth. And, so I love that this is, and I see you doing this. I mean, you just completed your first 6 months in the material. what is also your goal as you move forward from this, Kat? And I know you've shared with me, but what is your goal? Like, because I was saying some people come in and they're like, oh, another certificate, I'm trained, I'm done. And that's we don't teach that in this material, or we don't encourage.
Well, my goal is like staying with this material, still staying with the material. I know you said about the lead the field and or a fast track, which I kind of decided on the fast track, but a couple of days ago, I got a nudge and I said, why not doing the lead the field? Why not just, move on with this and like open my mind even more and the understanding a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's a nice thing when you come in. Like, I mean, Bob spent over 61 years of his life studying and researching the TIR material, which it is a science-based recipe that comes all the way from the very first billionaire on the planet. And then, of course, it was Bob and all of his mentorship. It's like the foundation. And I always think that no matter what, you have this material. It's always there. You want to be like in growth mindset and taking action on it. And then no matter what you're doing, whether you go into, because we've talked about this yoga, meditation, whatever you go into, you have this as a foundation because it's like a home. Like you need a strong foundation in order to build the home. And then, of course, we also here have other material and mentorship, but you're kind of always stuck with me if you want to be, because I don't just go away. That's one thing with Diamond Mind and with the team is, Bob just recognized during, especially the first 6 months coming into this material, you needed a guide. And so we just wanted to offer you the best mentorship and be the best guide. But at the same time, we don't want you to feel dependent on us, and so that that you can now move forward, whether you stay with us or whether you move on to something else or a new mentorship, that you just know that we're here for you. And we are so glad, and I do see you being able to move on to other material, but still using this as a foundation, which we encourage you to come back to over and over again. And it has been truly just an honor and a privilege because you came in as an intelligent student. And we always say that's most important. Like, in order to become a phenomenal leader, you got to be a student. And then phenomenal leaders know when to lead and they know when to follow. So it's really, truly just been wherever you move from here, we've got you. We're here for you. We just love our clients and love you. And you've been such a wonderful addition. You took action and started a mastermind, which we teach in lesson 12. You started that and are leading with, I don't know, I think there's like 6 to 8 other thinking into results leaders. So creating magic in that group, which, by the way, the mastermind is one of the essential steps to riches, according to Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, that we teach, but we teach it quite a bit differently. Of course, just basing it on what, Bob has left and what Bob, of course, was really walking and talking. And yeah, is there if someone would like to reach out to you, and you never know, because we've got lots of meditation friends and other leaders working with kids. If someone wants to reach out to you and they want to collaborate or they want to learn more about what you're doing, is there any way that, is it okay if we leave some way that they could get connected to you?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So
Yes, of
maybe like
course.
an email or something is best, because
Yes,
we could put that down. Yeah.
yes, an email, that would be great.
Yeah, and if you have any other links, Kat, that you'd love to share, then you can, or any other things that you're passionate about too. We want to make sure that, we can connect those people because we're all magnets to you. So,
Yes, I mean, I love dancing. I love reading. I love spending time in nature with my boys and the family in general. And I love to be by the water. Like water is. is my thing. Not swimming as much, but just being in.
Water. Oh, I feel that. Yes. And I don't know what sign you are if you're open to signs, but I'm a Pisces. So I
I'm a
love being,
Capricorn.
oh, I love being near the water too. I'm a fish. I'm like, give me the water.
I
Yeah.
am Earth, but I just love
Yeah.
the water.
Yeah. I love it. Just before we close this, um, what, what would you say around the mentorship and the support that you received through, of course, coming into the Thinking into Results material? We know, like, you want to move into Lead the Field with us, and there's so many other areas of just moving around and growing and being in growth mindset. But what would you say about the mentorship around the just going through the program itself? What were you happy with it? What would you say around that?
I not just happy, but I always, the support was there. Like every time I would reach out to you, or every time I would reach out to one of the dream team um, members, they were always happy to help, to guide, and everybody was fantastic. I have no complaints. It was, and I felt after that, after I would reach out to you and we would conversate, uh, I felt very uplifting. I felt um, that yes, I can do this. Like the support is huge.
Good. That's what we like to hear. And no matter what, when you become a client in this material, although we come into an agreement together, that you can always reach out. Like I do that regularly anyways, is to do, I get it. Clients sometimes move into other things. And I think it's unhealthy when we're dependent on a mentor. So I want you to feel independent and empowered, but at the same time that you can reach out. And every so often I'll reach out anyways when I get divinely nudged. And I just want to say, I'm so grateful that you made that decision. It might have taken you a few years, but you made the decision. And now we're working with, your husband. And it's just a testimonial to the outside changes that the people around you that not even were around that they're seeing. So I'm just so proud of you, Katrina. And you definitely should be proud of yourself, because I know that you've put in a lot of work and I know it's not easy. And I tell everybody that because, it's like Buckminster Fuller said, if you don't like your current reality, you got to create a new model and you got to make the old model obsolete. And so this opportunity to continue being in growth mindset, because there's infinite potentials here, infinite potential, infinite possibilities. So thank you so much for just sharing a little bit about you. You definitely came in as an intelligence student. You've become one of our favorite leaders. We're just so happy you're here. We're so proud of you. And my wish is that if you're watching this call, that maybe you're inspired to take action and join us, and or reach out to Kat to also learn more. So thank you so much again.
Thank
And
you. My honor.
yeah, we'll continue the journey.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So thanks for being here, and we will continue this conversation away from this video. Bye, everybody.